Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Charm City Heavyweights Podcast, brought to you by the Great 8 Sports Memorabilia in Parkville, Maryland. I'm the host, Matt Trigger. With me, as always, is my co-host, Josh Merrill. What's going on, man?
What's up, Matt? Coming live from the man cave, and welcome to the man cave.
All right, I like the little pizzazz you put on it.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about, man.
It's a hard time. That's a hard day to be a Ravens fan.
It really is. This whole Lamar Jackson saga is really starting to get odd, man.
It's odd. It's ugly. It's embarrassing.
I was listening to the fan today, and there was comparisons to his behavior being similar to Antonio Brown. I don't think it's that drastic, but there's a lot of odd activity going on with this non-certified representative that's his business partner.
Yeah, and some things Lamar is probably right, like that are lies. But come on, Lamar, all this shit ain't lies, man. I'm sure the NFL ain't putting out a memo based on a lie. I'm sure they had proof. That would be, defamation of character. So they'd get sued. So I'm sure they had solid proof that that's what was happening. Not everybody's lying on them. It's just weird. It's sad, man. A couple years ago, he was a young kid here, man, loved the game. Let's go for it, coach. They played it all the time. Everybody loved him and backed him up. And now it's just like a weird side of him. Money changes people. Money changes everything. And I don't know if that's what it's happening or what, but it's just weird, man. It just feels weird.
It really does.
His little weird fucking workout thing, man.
With his business partner that was called
dude, you can just buy a cart and put all that stuff on it. Most people have all that shit in their garage. Just buy a fucking little cart to stick it on. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's strange. The whole thing has just gotten ugly, and I can't believe it stretched out this long. I thought he would have been signed last offseason. I never imagined it going this weird. It's just weird, man.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd.
Ravens fans are tired of it. I think most people are getting to the point where they just want it to be over.
They're wearing down. The patience is wearing thin. A lot of people just want a resolution. And I've been on social media, albeit arguing with some fans and more of a debate. We're a very good football team with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. We have a very high winning percentage. But at the same time, those wins get us to the postseason, and then his win percentage goes from winning essentially 3 out of every 4, every 5 games to 1-3. I hate to keep on harping on that, and it's shitty. I'm not a fan of breaking down anybody, but all this fuss for a quarterback that hasn't sniffed an AFC championship game yet.
It's wild. I agree with you 100%. And there may be collusion. I probably would put my money on collusion, but
here's the thing. I think there's collusion.
His value is dry, and it's embarrassing to him. His value, no one has even sniffed him, and I think it's not only the offer. It's he's a big gamble, man. He hasn't proven anything. All he's proven is he can get you to the playoffs. He hasn't done anything. So to give up 2 first-round picks, man,
if not
and
more.
if not more, and give him $250 million guaranteed, whatever hell he wants.
Like if you would have,
It's a risk, man. Teams are scared, and every time it looks like a team's getting ready to make a move like Tennessee and Indy, then it just doesn't. It's just rumors.
if you would have told me last week when free agency kicked off 10 days ago that the Carolina Panthers would have opted to sign Andy Dalton and ride with Matt Corral over the possibility of bringing in Lamar Jackson, I'd tell you you're crazy.
And Tampa went with Baker.
Tampa went with Baker. The Commanders went with Jacoby Brissett.
Yep.
Now, granted, they got those 2 quarterbacks for a fraction of what Lamar is going to cost.
Nobody wants to pay it. He's going to have to take a hit of his pride. He's going to have to swallow his pride. He's going to have to. I'm sure whatever the Ravens have offered him is still there and still stands. So he needs to swallow his pride and just sign the fucking thing.
Are we entirely sure he even takes that hit to his pride? And
probably not. He hasn't shown any signs of it. But at some point, he's going to want to play football.
The scariest thing to me is that Jason Lockenfora brought it up, where teams hold out until after the draft. And then if they don't get their quarterback, they go for him. And we don't see any draft picks for him until next year.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
It would be. And I really don't like that. That's a potential. At this point, what can you possibly do if you're the Baltimore Ravens? You just gotta hope he signs the.
We're froze. We're stuck. Yeah, you gotta hope he signs the tender at this point.
And
we're fucked.
Now we're in technically the quote unquote second wave of free agency, and
all the good receivers are gone.
The wide receiver market's drying up. We signed Nelson Aguilar.
That was a classic
Ravens move.
Classic
Ravens move.
Sign a high draft pick that's never panned out.
And you don't know if he's going to pan out or not here.
No,
I mean, realistically, how much better is he than Deshaun Jackson at this point? How much better is he than Sammy Watkins? How much better is he than James Prochet?
He's not a physical receiver either. He's finesse as shit, man. He doesn't go up and get nothing.
And then you got to think about who's going to be throwing the ball to him. If it's Huntley, good luck.
We gave him almost $4 million, 3 point something.
Yeah, it's very difficult, man. It's a touchy situation.
Yeah, they can't do nothing. They can't spend. They can't do anything. And it sucks, man. We got 5 fucking draft picks.
And that's the biggest thing about this whole thing. I am 100% convinced that we trade out of 22 just to get some ammunition. I wouldn't even be surprised if we traded out of the first round completely.
We might.
Or we go to one of the Super Bowl teams, either Kansas City or Philadelphia, and see if they want to trade up 10 spots. And we do that. And like I would see I would see Eric getting a pick or 2 back. Honest. That would be, especially if they can grab a second round pick, what they lost for Roquan. We're very destitute in picks this year. I think this is the first time in like 10 years where we have no comp picks.
Yeah, we usually got a shitload of picks.
Right. Last year we had what, 11?
Yeah, we had the most in the draft.
I don't see this going very well. I'm very skeptical about the draft coming up unless we can convince one of these teams to give us a few picks for Lamar. I'm very skeptical about it. I'm not too confident that we're going to get the guy that we want. I'm always nervous as hell when we draft a wide receiver. I'm nervous as hell
because we draft wide receivers 3 rounds too high.
Right. I mean, it was telling, that there was a scout from Pittsburgh that said they had Marquise Brown graded as a mid-third round wide receiver, and we took him in the top 20.
Yeah. It's bad.
It is bad. It's really bad. But let's getting back to Lamar. What is going through this dude's head? I'm
I
not.
don't know, bro. Because if I'm him, if it's true what he said, the Ravens all did made him like a side offer. Like, what would you consider doing 3 years, 133? Like, bro, you're young as fuck. Take that 133 million guaranteed, and then you get another bite at the apple. There's a lot of rumors speculating that's what what's his name's doing in Philly, uh Hurst.
Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people think he's going to do something like that, like 3 years, 150 guaranteed, and then in a few years he does it again. Like it's another big ass bite at it. Like why not do that? Like
It's
even
just
if you say you suck those 3 years and but still, bro, you just got 133 million guaranteed. That's generational wealth. It's foolishness.
You're right. It's generational
Like
wealth.
you're fine. Like you don't even got pressure on you, man. You like once you sign
I
that, fuck.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. In the same breath, I don't believe Lamar is going to sell himself short in that type of way. I I really think that he's trying to make this whole thing work in his favor, and it's failing miserably right now on both
Well, he needs
sides.
an agent. All the former players are coming out. Even Ryan Clark, which I can't stand that fucker. I can't believe I agreed with him. He said
I
the other
like him.
day on ESPN, look, Lamar, he was like, I know in the beginning I was saying, like, you don't need an agent. You got this. He was like, well, I was wrong. He was like, you don't have this. Like, this is like not going your way. It's out of control. You need you need an agent, man. You really need an agent. Shannon Sharp ripped him. Like it's crazy. Like he had the image of this nice kid. Was calling all the reporters Mister and Miss, and like we never seen things like that. He was nice, and money just changes everything, man. It shows you how money just can change everything, and it's sad. I don't understand how he turned the kind of money he turned down. Then when you
That's
read
even if it's
he
true.
turned, well. Then you read that, he turned down $100 million in endorsements. Like, why?
It
Like you
what's
say you want all this money, but why ain't you taking it?
let's take the contract out of it for a second, okay? Let's take the contract out of it.
Fine, he's an
I
overrated quarterback.
no, I'm not even. I'm talking about off the field stuff right now. I'm not saying that he's a nuisance. I'm not saying that he's a bad person off the field because that's not even close to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the arguing with journalists, the arguing with media personalities,
Bad idea.
replying to fans with you know smart remarks or just now. Here's the thing. I understand
And then this stupid
you.
little interview he was going to put out that I don't think has come out yet.
It hasn't.
Mysteriously, just.
And from what I saw, he's interviewing himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
So
weird.
there's just a lot of erratic behavior going on, and the thing is, he hasn't talked to the local media in 4 months.
Oh,
It's been since December. We're almost in April. I get it. You're not obligated to talk to the media in the all season, but you're doing yourself no favors by arguing with fans on Twitter, by arguing with uh, analysts and insiders and stuff like that. And then the guy that was accused by the NFL of negotiating with teams on your behalf, you then tag him in a video promoting his portable workout system.
and you're in it, and it looks
And
like a 5-year-old made the video.
you're in the video and you claim he's your business partner. It looks real crazy right now. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, how is this dude like even if he thinks he's being funny, he's not funny right now.
No,
You're technically not signed to any team. Yeah, we have your rights, but you don't have pen to paper anywhere. And even if teams are thinking about wanting to offer you something, this is doing you no favors in garnering any potential interest at
no,
all.
no. Maybe the market's just not as big for him as he thought it was. I mean, I think that's a fact now. I think that's a fact that a lot of teams had the same worries. You know, a lot of Ravens fans who know anything about the sport have about him. You know, like he struggled in a lot of big games, and I'm talking about the playoffs. I know he's won a lot of big regular season games, but man, that's nobody remembers that. Man, you got to win Super Bowls in this league. You got to get close. Like,
And I hate to compare him to Flacco
but
because
Flacco was getting close, so everybody felt comfortable.
fair,
I didn't like when we didn't sign him that Super Bowl year. I wanted him locked down, and
right.
I didn't like how that went.
But the thing is, we barely scraped by the skin of our teeth from the majority of the Flacco years to get into the playoffs. It's just that when we got there, the dude was different. January Joe was a different kind of dude altogether.
He was.
And it seems like with Flacco, pressure, created diamonds, and with Lamar, pressure burst pipes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that negative about it, but look at the first 5 years of Flacco's career compared to the first 5 years of Lamar's career, and there's astounding differences. It's not just a difference here or there. Yeah, he's got a better win percentage in the regular season, but Joe Flacco went to the AFC Championship 4 out of his first 5 years, and won a Super Bowl MVP, and he did what he had to do. He bent us over.
It was 3 out of the first 5.
Right. So he bent us over a table at the negotiation table after that Super Bowl MVP.
He did. Sure did. Had every right to.
This is a different situation. Lamar hasn't finished a season
in
healthy
3 years.
In 3 years. He has not played a full 16/17 calendar game season ever.
Yeah.
Because even in his MVP year, he got benched in week 17 because of the injury factor. We had already clinched the first round bye.
Yeah.
And he was pulled in the fourth quarter 4 different times. So he missed the equivalent of 2 games his MVP year, which is crazy to think about the stats he could have put up if he stayed in all those times.
Yeah.
And then he misses 2020 with COVID a couple games, and then the ankle injury.
And if he beats the Titans, this might be a different conversation.
This is a different conversation.
I'm not saying he had to win a Super Bowl that year, but we should have. That was our window. That was our shot. And,
right.
But if he would have beat the Titans and made it to the AFC Championship, even if we would have lost to the Chiefs, it's a different story. Because then he's been close. Because then, you can get at least close with the motherfucker. My fear is the Ravens just cave and give him what he wants. And then, it's injury prone and, this weird Lamar thing going on is the actual Lamar, like, the true color show. And it's just a nightmare of a contract that F's us for years.
My biggest worry with Lamar is not the giving him what he wants. My biggest worry with Lamar is have we seen his best football already? And it's crazy I'm even saying that
because he's digressed.
He's 26 years old. He's regressed every single year since the MVP year. Now, here's the thing. You look at, there's so many moving factors to it, because you have the fact that we have been piss poor at drafting receivers for him. We have not brought in any wide receiver free agents that are worth a shit. And that's due to the fact that we had an offensive coordinator that worried more about running the ball as opposed to passing the ball. He ran to open up the pass instead of passing to open up the run, which in today's NFL is counterproductive, so to speak.
Debatable.
But a lot of the draft picks that the Costa has picked at wide receiver have not panned out. Miles Boykin was a bust.
No. Marquise Brown was his best pick.
Marquise Brown was his best pick, and Marquise Brown didn't produce until his final year here in Baltimore. And it took him 16 games to crack 1,000 yards. When other receivers around the league are cracking yards in week 14, week 13, some guys are cracking it in week 10, week 12. We haven't given him a whole lot to work with in that department. So I do hold the Ravens accountable for that. But a part of me says Lamar was in the same offense for 4 years and regressed every year in that offense.
He did.
So at what point are people going to realize that is an issue? He had the same offensive coordinator, the same offense. And what he was doing in 2019, he did not do in 2020, 21, or 22. It's you got to stop being a Lamar lover and be objective about the situation that this football team is in right now. If you pay Lamar Jackson, if you pay Lamar Jackson what he wants, and 2019 is the best football you'll ever see him play again, and the closer he gets to 30, the more his speed reduces, the heavier he probably gets from packing on muscle and maintaining his weight. And then all of a sudden, he's going up for his next contract, and he's a pocket quarterback, a sole pocket quarterback. And I hate comparing him to other running quarterbacks because he's not like those guys. Cam Newton broke down physically because he ran like a fucking fullback. And then he was dropping his throwing shoulder into linebackers and shit. You know, that's the difference there. Cam is 6'5" and 250. He's a tight end that can throw the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a sustainable way to play in the NFL, but
it's not.
Historically, it's not. History repeats itself, and I don't want to see him go down that same path, and I don't want to see him going down that path as a Baltimore Raven. I don't want to see him going down that path.
And he's not, for people that keep saying he's the only MVP to get franchised. No, he's not. Steve Young also got franchised. Same type of tender, non-exclusive.
It's a crazy situation because he's really holding us captive right now. And
hell yeah, the whole team. It's making me not be able to stand it. Can't stand it, man. He said we can't do nothing.
We can't do nothing.
They can't do shit. They can't sign no one.
We have lost Calais Campbell. We've lost Ben Powers.
Probably going to lose Peters. Somebody's going to snag Peters.
Somebody's going to snag Peters closer to the draft or after the draft.
Yeah.
We brought back Justice Hill. We brought back Nick Moore. We brought back other key pieces to the special teams, which I'm happy about. But at the same time, now you've got essentially $8 million tied up in your running back room right now between 3 players. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're pinching pennies, that's quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
And we haven't been able to address left guard, so we're going to have to go with somebody in-house, either Ben Cleveland or Daniel Falele, or we lost Tristan Colon to the New York Jets 4 days ago.
Yeah.
We are losing guys at an alarming pace, and it's all because we got that $33 million cap hit. Lose the entire team.
Yeah,
and he wants weapons.
That's why the Ravens wanted this deal done, man. They didn't want this. You know, you spread the money out.
If he signs a long-term deal in Baltimore and he pushes the cap hits back a couple years, we can go get DeAndre Hopkins or go to Tampa Bay and try to finagle Mike Evans to where and the way it's looking right now, we're going to have to trade Patrick Queen as well. I don't see Patrick Queen being here.
Next year,
because Vinny made the most sense. His value is the highest right now because he had a great year after Roquan got here, and he can net you a wide receiver without having to spend big bucks. Now, they could do he brought it up hypothetically where it would be a Patrick Queen and an R3 for Mike Evans and their 4 and kind of swap draft picks, but we get a bona fide number 1 in here, even though he's 30 years old, injury plagued, but it beats Hopkins, who has a $20 million cap hit, who's probably not going to want to restructure in an unknown event of where he doesn't know if Lamar Jackson is going to be his quarterback or not. It's really this situation is holding us up from putting together a complete football team. We have missed our window, so they've either got to get this done and reconfigure our window, or they've got to get this done and cheat him somewhere to where we can. It's not going to be a rebuild because we still got a top 5 defense, a top 5 run game, and a top 10 offensive line, top 5
Yeah,
offensive
we're gonna
line.
be in it.
We're going to be in it. It's just we got to figure out who's throwing the football. As much as I hate to say it, we got to figure that out. Now, would I be uneasy if Tyler Huntley is our main guy and there's nobody here to push him? Absolutely, because I think that he would need somebody to come in here and push him. But who do you bring in here? All the viable quarterbacks are gone. I don't feel comfortable bringing in Gardner Minshew to push him.
No.
No. I mean,
bring in Cam Newton or something if that's the route we go.
But do you want a noodle arm Cam Newton?
No, but I'd like him to be behind Huntley. Keep some pressure on his ass.
Yeah, it would. It would.
Because Ravens fans, as soon as Huntley had a bad game or does some dumb shit, bring in Cam. You be like, bring in Cam.
And the thing is, if you're gonna pay Cam Newton to play football in Baltimore, you might as well take the younger version and give Lamar the money he wants for a temporary solution, because Cam's done. He's done. He hasn't been effective in this league in at least 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I
was just being hypothetical, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's another backup quarterback out there. One of our commenters, Pat Terranova, said Nick Foles. Now, would Nick Foles be a good backup here? Absolutely. He's smart. He's reliable. He's not injury prone. He could be a good veteran presence in the quarterback room for Huntley and Anthony Brown. Absolutely. But would I rely on Nick Foles to start 10 games? No. Hell no. Couldn't do it. That's a good suggestion. I mean, that's better than Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
I think we just really overplayed our hand here, and so did Lamar. And right now it's a staring contest and nobody's blinking.
Nope.
I hate how this is gone. I don't have a good feeling about it.
It's hard to. It's been ugly.
And I was talking to a couple of coworkers about this, and a couple of them are objective because they're not Ravens fans. This is the ugliest I've ever seen dirty laundry being aired out on the behind the scenes aspect of the Baltimore Ravens organization. They don't get down like this, so it is really shocking that there's leaks being posted by both sides. It's obvious. And then you have about close to 10 current and former players speaking out about the strength and conditioning coach we just fired, and the offense under the players are still talking about the offense under Greg Roman. And it's like, what do you want at this point? Like, you want the leaks to stop. We look dysfunctional. This is Cleveland shit. This is DC shit. This is like not what we do.
Nope. Definitely not used to this as Ravens fans.
It's looking bad as an organization that we cannot stop the leaks. And the fact that our quarterback won't stop fucking tweeting is not making it any better. I really want him to just go ghost on social media until all this is over. That would be like the best thing for everybody.
That's what he should do.
It's what he should. But the thing is, you know who would tell him to do that? A fucking
agent. Yeah, because they do damage control. They're basically your publicists as well. Yeah, he doesn't have none of that. He has whatever the NFLPA is telling him and his friends and whoever, man.
And the NFL Players Association has been nothing short of detrimental to this whole process. Because the thing is, Lamar is a pawn in their game. They don't care about Lamar specifically.
No.
They are trying to push this league to go into the way of the NBA and the Major League Baseball, where players get fully guaranteed ironclad deals. And they are using Lamar as the sticking point. And they are advising him to do shit in the best interest of the overall standing of the league. And they're making him the martyr.
Yeah.
and he doesn't know it. And even or if he does know it, he's just ignorant to the ramifications. No owners are going to go with this. The owners right now are having a standoff with the entire league when it comes to paying quarterbacks, with paying anybody. There hasn't been monster deals at all this offseason that make you raise your eyebrows, especially for quarterbacks.
Look, man, people can say what they want. It's their team. It's their money, most importantly. I mean, if that's what they want to do. At the end of the day, the owners are always going to win, because they have the money. Whoever has the money wins.
Yeah,
They're
but
always going to win. The
okay.
players can say what they want, but they need the owners to give them paychecks. So
right now, the biggest FU to the team would be for Lamar Jackson to sit out, count $33 million against the cap.
yeah, and he don't have to sign it till week 10.
And we start Tyler
stupid
Huntley.
Fucking rule. Another conversation, but that's a stupid fucking. Who the fuck wrote that rule?
The NFL Players Association are gangsters, man. That's just the reality of the situation.
That's just insane. Doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. It makes none. That's the hard part about this. It makes no sense.
No.
And I really wish.
But I blame a lot on Lamar because I feel like the Ravens offered him fair.
But the thing is, that's on what's reported. We really don't know what they offered him. I'm being objective, though, Josh.
Matt, the 3 for 133 was good. I mean,
but
Lamar
that's if it's
that.
true. That's
but Lamar
if it's
said
true.
That. But Lamar said it.
But the way he said it is that they would have offered him 3 for 133. He alluded to he would have signed that. He said that he wouldn't have needed an agent if he got that offer. That's what he alluded to. He didn't say that they offered it. They offered him 3 for 133. We're not having this conversation. We're probably talking about opening day next week for the Orioles or something along those lines. I honestly think that they haven't offered him something to his liking, but I don't think it was something 3 for 133. Because the thing is, they're going to want to lock him down for longer than that, because if they give him a 3-year deal, they know he's just waiting out Burrow, Herbert, and Hurts. And he's going to try to reset the market again when he's 29 years old. So I don't think they're going to play that game with him.
Matt, I don't really believe they think he's the long term. I think they believe he's the short term, the next 2 to 4 years maybe. I don't think they truly believe he's the long term guy. I don't. I don't.
I don't understand.
I think part of the reason why Greg Roman was around so long is because I don't know if they necessarily believed he could thrive in any other offense.
But that's doing a disservice to him. I mean, you're pigeonholing him into one offense. And the thing is, if you don't necessarily know if he's going to be your long-term answer, why trade up back into the first round of the 2018 draft and take him?
That I don't know, but I also don't believe they thought he was going to be an MVP. Have an MVP.
Nobody thought that. He took the league by fire in 19. And honestly, that was our window right there. 19 and 20 was our window to win the Super Bowl. And even you can argue last year and the year before to a degree, but those 2 years were his prime years.
Yeah.
It's just, it's shitty.
Everything went our way. Everything went our way like it has to win the Super Bowl. We were the best team in the league that year.
Far and away,
I know the Chiefs
best
won
team.
the Super Bowl. Yeah,
far and away the best
Super Bowl.
It's incredible that we didn't win the Super Bowl that year. We ran roughshod over every single team in the league that year. We lost 2 fucking games and had a 12-game win streak.
Yeah.
And we were steamrolling people.
Killing them.
I think we had, 2,000-yard rushers that year?
Yeah.
Ingram and Lamar?
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar combines for 45 touchdowns between passing and running. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and the Titans, man. I know they were. We all learned eventually they were a lot better than everyone thought they were. But still, that game at home, man, first round bye. Had to win. He had to win that game.
He had to.
Yeah, he had to.
He just can't do it, man. And I love him. I rock with our quarterbacks regardless. I defended Joe Flacco for a decade against
Same.
naysayers.
Me too.
But at the end of the day, around that 9th year, I really had to start questioning my defense to him because he just wasn't getting it done anymore. He regressed every year after 2014.
He did.
He started getting hurt. He started checking out mentally. He became a family guy. And I love Flacco. I'm always going to love number 5. That's my guy. But this right now is leaving a real sour taste in my mouth when it comes to this whole situation. And one thing we haven't even touched on yet, Josh, is how do you think the rest of the team is going to feel when this situation comes to a head and he stays? Hypothetically, he stays. You now had other guys restructuring to fit him under the cap. Now, some guys might not mind, but now you're asking guys to take less money this year or next year to fit him under your salary cap. And then he comes back and he's pissed off about having to play on the cap, and then he doesn't come to minicamp to learn the new offense. He doesn't come to OTAs. He doesn't come to
Well, I think it'll probably divide the locker room.
It's going to. And then you know what happened the last time we had a divided locker room was 2007. We went 5-11 and Billick was fired.
Yeah.
We have too many good players on this football team to have that happen again. It can't happen because this might be a situation that if it blows up in our face, they blow the entire team up.
Yeah.
And take their cap hits on the dead cap for a year or two. And they get rid of Ronnie, they get rid of Marlon, they get rid of Matabike, they get rid of whoever, Morgan Moses. I'm just naming some veterans. They could get Zeitler, they could blow the whole thing up and get rid of everybody. If this
Honestly,
blows
I
up.
know you're not going to like this, but I'd get rid of Zeitler no matter what.
Why?
Because I think we can find. I know how good he is. I'm not taking that away. I'm just saying I feel like we can find a sufficient guard for considerably less than what he's making. Not as good as him because he's legit. He's one of the best guards in football. Not taking that away, but I'm saying we can find a good guard, and it probably would not make that much of a difference on that line for a lot less money.
I will take Kevin Zeitler over Cleveland, Cologne, Tyree Phillips, any of the other below average linemen that we've trotted out there along the interior. McCary. There's no way, dude. We were sorely missing a player of Yonda's caliber. Now, he's not Yonda, but he's close in terms of locking that down. He doesn't give up sacks. He doesn't give up pressures. He's good in the run game. Okay, yeah, we're paying him a lot of money, but we had no choice because the bums
he's a
we had
luxury though. But he's a luxury.
He's a luxury. But that's a luxury we need. The running game doesn't work if you have below average interior linemen. We are offensive linemen, bud. That's what we played when we played organized football, Josh. We both played offensive line. So if you're in the middle of your line is weak, you can't run the ball. And that's what
I feel like
our team is predicated on, is running the ball.
I feel like we could fill that position cheaper and not see that much of a drop off. That's just my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
We got a lot of comments pouring in on Facebook or live right now.
Hit them up.
Let's see. Dion Reed, one of our listeners. What's up, Dion? In what world does a Heisman and MVP not have endorsements? It's the world where a Heisman and an MVP doesn't have an agent.
Yeah, he's turned them down.
Carlos said, if you're the Ravens, do you even want Lamar back knowing he may be disgruntled from a failed free agency run? That's the case now. Their feelings are hurt all over the place. Feelings were hurt all over the plate.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I just I think it's going to divide the locker room. I think he has a lot of hard feelings.
Yeah.
Dion says he has no market. The teams that had money are willing to spend all that money to, they're going to go towards drafting a quarterback in this. What the hell are you doing over there? All I hear is papers ruffling.
I was checking my notes. Dead.
Oh my fucking God. Okay. Anyway,
Who else? Read another comment.
I'm going through them. Carlos said somewhere down the line, Lamar's going to get his money. The only person losing right now is the Ravens. Yeah, that's true to a certain extent.
No,
The Ravens
I
are
believe
losing
he's
right
losing
now.
too. He's losing too.
Everybody's losing. This is a no-win situation right here. Lamar might get his money down the line, but he's not going to get it right this second. He's not going to get paid when he thinks he deserves to. So there's that. Kenny Taylor, what's up, Kenny? The whole thing, at some point, the Ravens will have to blow it up and start all over. We just touched on that a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
That's a strong possibility. Drew Robinson says, I have a feeling that he's not going to play this year. He might not. He might not walk on the field until week 11. And that's going to damage his chances at free agency even further next year. And if we're doing good up to that point, and the Ravens are 7-3 or 8-2, do you really want to ruin that ride right there? No, you don't want to. Dion said, let's see. Dion and Kenny are okay. Kenny said that he thinks the Georgia quarterback Stetson Bennett's going to be our quarterback next year. That's a very strong possibility. It all depends on where they think he's going to go in the draft. If he's available in day 3 and we have a pick, I think he's going to be the guy. And there's a very good chance that he starts if Lamar's not here, because he knows the offense like the back of his hand. He's also older than Lamar, or almost as old as Lamar.
I think he's like the same age.
Drew Robinson said, how was the 2007 locker room separated? 2 words, Kyle Bowler. McNair got hurt. Kyle Bowler started again. It was
a terrible year, man. And we had high hopes that year.
5-11. We had just lost Jamal Lewis, I believe.
Yeah. Brian Billick made the announcement in training camp. This is going to be the best offense Baltimore's ever seen.
Yep.
Willis McGahee was here.
Yes, he was. And that's
we sucked, man. We sucked bad.
We were terrible. Bowler looked like he was just closing his eyes and throwing down the field, hoping to find somebody.
Yep. That was bad. That was a horrible year, man. Ray got hurt in Cleveland.
Yes, he did. I think that's the year he tore his ACL.
It might have been. And I remember it was in Cleveland, man. It was like
it might have been his
Monday
labrum.
night,
Might have been his labrum in his shoulder, I think. Something.
Yeah, but he was out for the year, whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, at that point, there was no sense in trying to bring him back.
No, it was a shitty year, man.
It was.
Following year was good, though.
Yeah, that was the start of a new era. The era we're still in, honestly.
Yeah.
15 years later. But it's really just when you reminisce back on those years, I'm thankful for the Flacco era. I'm thankful for the Lamar Jackson era, because having to watch Kyle Bowler and Chris Redmond,
that was bad, man,
and Jeff Blake and Sonny Case and Trent Dilfer and Tony Banks. Yeah, that just gave me indigestion.
That's why when Flacco was getting all that hate, it used to irk my soul. Like, man, we've been praying for a guy like this.
Do you not know what we sat through before Flacco got here?
Yeah, it was terrible. We prayed for a guy like this. What the hell is wrong with you?
And then Lamar Jackson comes in after Flacco and completely changes the game. He changes the way the quarterback position is played. And here we are now, wondering where it all went wrong, or looking to point the finger at somebody. I it doesn't make sense, man.
I mean, if you broke it all down and we had all the facts, it's probably a little bit of wrong on both sides.
Oh
He's
yeah,
probably did a little wrong. They probably done a little wrong. And now it's it's just ugly. Eric even said at the end of the season presser, like, I told Lamar, like, if we start doing like the leaking game, it's not good for anybody. And that's what's happening. That's what we're seeing.
yes.
And Lamar's reacting to it live.
And one of the
And
things
everything he tweets, like, he's got to understand everything you tweet right now, especially, is going to be a headline. Everything.
one thing that I don't understand is the national media is like so anti-organization and pro-player, especially on the talk shows on the major networks.
Yeah.
It's really irritating that Stephen A. and Marcus Wiley and Dan Orlovsky, all these guys that are, Shannon Sharp was the only one that's being real about the situation. He's saying that he needs to get an agent and he needs to clean this shit up and find an ending resolution to it. But it's not helping anything that the national media now picks this up, and it is something every single day, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's so irritating to the point now where we spent 47 minutes now talking about Lamar Jackson when the Orioles kick off their season in a week.
Yeah.
And we got one of the best young baseball teams in the league. The WBC just wrapped up. Our players had a good showing there. And then we can't even appreciate the Orioles season starting because of this shit.
Yeah, usually I'm excited. Especially now, it's a hell of a time to be Oriole fan. It's exciting time.
It really is.
Yeah. And Alabama lost today.
Thank God. Nothing made me happier than seeing them lose to San Diego State.
Yeah, San Diego was the only team that in the tournament that I felt like could beat them, because they beat them pretty handily in the regular season as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just happy they lost.
San Diego State, I think, may win the whole fucking thing, man.
Bastards. Can't stand Alabama. Well, I knew they were in trouble when they only scored like 23 points in the first half.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think we've pretty much said everything that we could possibly say about Lamar Jackson at this point.
And as for the free agent move we made today, I mean, and it's going to be moves like that, guys, because they're handcuffed. So
we can't do
anything. Get used to it.
We have like $8 million in cap space.
The Ravens know he's not a difference-making receiver. I mean, come on, they know. I mean, it's just all we can do. They knew they had to add something.
Meanwhile, you got the New York Jets buying up every receiver they possibly can and trading off receivers to division rivals.
Man, they're going to be scary, dude.
Especially when Aaron Rodgers gets over. It's going to be wild. That's going to be like a crazy offense up there, man. That's going to be.
Imagine when we got to do a show with those Jets guys, man. It's going to be hard.
Did we play the Jets this year?
I don't know. I hope not. I don't know. That's a good question. I hope we don't. Because them guys are going to be high rate.
Yeah, well, that's a wrap on the show, man. Go ahead and shut it down, and let's wrap this puppy up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Guys, Julia's got swimming and soccer tomorrow, back to fucking back. So we're going to shut this down. We're going to shut it down to Chinatown.